super excited to film today as well. Today I'm going to review, oh my gosh, this is heavy AF, but I am going to be reviewing, I almost hit myself, the new Hera Black Foundation. Yes, I'm missing two because I gave these away to another person. But anyways, I will be reviewing the new Black Foundation by Hera, the Revolution. The, what is it? The freedom, the confident, the perfection, the independent. So as some of you guys already know, Hera already has their black cushion, right? Which I did enjoy. However, I didn't reach out for it because it kept emphasizing my bodice, and that's a no-no, honey. So even though I did like the formula and I thought it was great for like the summer, for if you have oily skin, I just didn't reach out for it. So when they came out with this new foundation, I thought that was great because I felt like just because of the different way on how you actually apply the makeup, it wouldn't emphasize my bodice. So I thought I would test out the new Hera Black Foundation out for 7 consecutive days so that I can really give you guys a good idea of how I feel about it and how it really tested out on my skin. So let's get started. Oh, right, before I get started, actually, sorry. I would just like to remind you guys of my skin type and the weather. My skin type, I have combination skin. So in my T-zone, I get oily and I sweat a lot on my forehead. But on my cheeks, it's very, very dry. Like my skin barrier, I can definitely feel that it has been damaged, compromised out. So I have very polar conditions on my face. And also the weather, nowadays, it's looking a lot more lovelier, but it is still very cold during the morning and the night, while it's a bit more warm during the day. So during the day, I did sweat a bit, but during the night it got really, really cold, really chilly. So yeah, now let's get started with the video. Hey guys, so I was in the midst of trying out the black foundation. I realized that my mic wasn't on, so let me just recap what just happened in the first 10 minutes. So I am going to be trying out the new black foundation by Hera for 7 days, and I picked out number 21W2, and I'm using a wet sponge just because it's still a bit more chilly in the spring. I think I'm going to use a bit of 17N1. I think I'm gonna use this to highlight like the higher points on my face. First impression, really good. I think I might really like this during the summer. It dries up right away. I don't know if you can tell, but it's drying up right away on my skin. It's very thin. I think that's one of the best things about the black cushion. And now the black foundation is how thin the formula is. Let me just zoom you guys in so you can see what you're dealing with. So I have a little bit of bumps under my eyes. I will say the foundation is not emphasizing my bodice, so that's one good thing. I do think that this shade 21W2 is a bit darker, so you can see that my neck looks a bit lighter, so I might pick up a brighter shade for tomorrow. Guys, I am like super impressed. Like I didn't have to touch up once throughout this whole day, and I've been out for like almost 11 hours. So okay, so as you can see, it's gotten a little oily in my T-zone, and also because, oh, by the way, I sprayed some of the Stearist Time's Running Out mist before I left just because it was feeling a little dry and I knew it was gonna get cold, and it was like the cherry on top. Like, I had people ask me like, what did you put on your skin? Your skin looks really great. So I am super impressed. Definitely, I think right now, just because of the weather, you definitely need to wear a hydrating primer when you're using this foundation, but I am so impressed. Like, I sweated a little, it got cold, I didn't have to touch it once, I didn't smudge once. It's looking super fresh, right? Can you believe this is my makeup after like almost 12 hours, right? It looks so good. Like, what the heck? Hey guys, so today is, I think, the 3rd day, and it's looking a little like dry around my bodice. It's emphasizing it a bit, but I know that with time it's gonna look better. So yeah, see you guys at the end of the day. Okay guys, so I've been up for about like 8 hours. And first of all, about the shade, it is definitely a bit darker. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but my neck shade is actually lighter than my face tone right now. So I am definitely gonna use the shade that I used yesterday. In terms of longevity, it is definitely colder. It was definitely colder today, so it looked a tad bit more, I guess, messy. Not really messy, but it didn't look glowing as yesterday. Yesterday was like the highlight, I guess. Today it looks fine on my T-zone, but on my cheeks where it's a little dry, it does look a tiny bit dry, and I didn't have to touch up the whole day, seriously. So I'm still very content with it, but yeah. Just gonna apply this like so. And so this is definitely a foundation in this weather that looks better with some time. It looks better with your sebum mixed in and all that after a couple of hours. But it doesn't get messy. So as you can see, it doesn't have the highest coverage, so I have to use like a pinpoint concealer. Just gonna dab it a little bit on the T-zone where I get oily and set it around my mouth. And then lastly, do like going in with mist. I'm going in with the Cirrus Time is Running Out mist. Usually I would use the Mamont Aqua Ball base, but I felt like that was a bit lacking. So I'm gonna use this Innisfree My Drop Oil Moisture instead. So I'm just gonna do 2 drops of this on my cheeks. Not on my T-zone because I don't really need it. Yeah, that ought to do the job. For the foundation, I'm going in with 17N1. This is a bit of a brighter color. So hopefully the oil moisture will do a better job. We shall see, we shall see. Finish with this. You guys can see I like applying that on my cheek areas where it gets a little dry. So today we'll see how the longevity goes and I'll report back to you. Wow, my forehead is glowing like the moon or something. But anyways, it's currently 10:30, so it's been about, I guess, 9 hours since I had this makeup on, and I gotta say guys, the oil moisture did a way better job in keeping up with the situation. So I definitely recommend, if you have dry skin in this weather right now, you do need a bit more of a hydrating, a lot more nourishing primer. And also I think I forgot to point this out before, but the reason why I kept going back and forth between shades, right? And the reason was because this oxidizes on my skin a bit. So even though it looks bright on camera, I think it's because of light, it actually oxidized a bit. So I think just to be safe, I'm gonna settle in with 17N1. Even though it might be a tad bright, it's actually not that bright because it has a really strong yellow base. But as for the longevity, it did actually pretty well. And also I didn't touch up one bit, so my T-zone is looking oily as usual. So as you guys saw, there were definitely, great parts about the foundation and also some parts that I wasn't really, excited about. So let me give you guys a brief summary. I settled with the shade 17N1, and even though I know it sounds really bright, the Hera shade selection in general is very dark compared to your regular Road Shop. So even though this is 17, this kind of equates to the Road Shop 21. And in general, all the shades in this collection, the yellow tone is very strong. So it looks very, very natural. Actually, it's the shade I have on right now. And as you can see, there's not that much big of a difference between the 2 tones, right? So this is definitely the color or the shade I've settled with. I naturally have a shade 22 strong yellow base, and I like brightening up my complexion just because my neck shade is brighter than my face shade. And also, just in case anything like oxidizes, I do like to reach out for a brighter shade. And so 17M1 works perfect for me in that sense. When it comes to the formula and how it applies, this applies super thinly, and I felt this even more so just because I have been testing out so many dewy moisturizing cushions with high coverage or decent, very, very good coverage, and those formulas aren't the lightest. So I think that just because I've been testing them out, using the black foundation felt really refreshing. It felt really light against my skin. So if you don't like anything stuffy, anything suffocating, or anything too cakey, this is definitely a great light formula. Now, just because it goes on super thinly, I will say that if you have any texture problems, any pimple, any acne, it won't cover it up. It will show. So bear that in mind. And also a huge, huge plus is that it didn't emphasize my pores, which was one of the issues that I had with the black cushion. So I definitely preferred this one over the black cushion. Contrary to what I remember, this didn't give me as much coverage as I wanted it to. So I definitely had to go with the concealer. I guess with this much coverage, for me, in my state right now, it just seemed to just clear out any redness, any complexions, but it wasn't enough to cover like the big ass, pigmentations, hyperpigmentations. So I'd say that this has sheer medium coverage. Now, as for the longevity, which is something that I did test out every day, even though this didn't necessarily hold up strongly against the sebum, like for example, the Moonshot Microset Fitting Cushion or the Lancome Daggy Doll, blah, blah, blah. You know the foundation I'm talking about, right? That one, those two are very strong, so they don't budge against sweat or sebum. But that isn't to say that this doesn't have good longevity. I'd say with this one, this actually plays well with, mixes in very well with the sebum. So it will look oily, but it doesn't look messy. And all I need to fix that situation is a bit of stronger powder, like the Etude House Fix and Fix powder. However, just because my cheeks were really, really dry, this did not look flattering at the end of the day after a long day. It looked really dry, crackly. Is that even the word? So with that being said, I had to use a bit more nourishing, primers with a bit more oiliness. Also, I will say that this is a foundation definitely on my skin that looks prettier after like a couple of hours, after my sebum has produced and mixed in with the foundation, just because it looks really matte at the beginning. Like as soon as you apply it, it does look matte. So let me break it down for you guys once again. I think the best thing about this foundation during the 7 days that I was testing it out was that it mixed in very nicely with the sebum and like the oily areas, and it didn't look messy at all. And also compared to the black cushion, I think the best thing about it doesn't emphasize my pores. It definitely fills them up, so that's a huge plus. On the downside, I think the worst thing or the most disappointing factor about this foundation is that it didn't really play well against or on top of the dry parts on my skin. Of course, that is something that I could fix or make up for using more hydrating primers, but I'm just saying in general, it just didn't look flattering. So I definitely recommend this over the black cushion, and I think I would use this really well in May with a bit of more stronger powder, just because I love the way it melted with my sebum. So that was it for my very thorough review. I think I like this kind of format. What do you guys think? If you guys like it, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in my next. Ciao!